James, did Rasheed Walker and Caden Walker participate in practice today?
Yeah, we have a number of guys. I guess there's a virus or flu going around on campus. I think we had about 6 guys that non-COVID related but had fevers really over the last couple days. So that's what we're dealing with.
Before the game on Saturday, it looked like Christian was taking the number 2 reps behind Sean. Did I interpret that correctly, and is that the plan moving forward?
Yeah, that's fair at this stage right now. You know, it's still a weekly competition, but yeah, that's fair.
Thanks.
James, how comfortable last week about competing 365 days a year? Is the current level of competition year-round commensurate with the way the team's played this year?
I understand the question. I would need some time to kind of answer that question. This is something I've been talking about for 8 years. Hopefully we'll be able to get into specifics here soon.
Coach Franklin, we're working on a story that's going to run in a few months, so I apologize to my colleagues here who are here for more immediate reasons. It has to do with Joe Paterno and his legacy and where it stands today, and our hope is to run it 10 years after his passing. And I'm just wondering if you'd be willing to share with us your thoughts on Joe Paterno and what his legacy means today to Penn State.
Yeah, I'm happy to talk about Rutgers this week, this game. So if you have any questions about that, I'd be more than happy to discuss it.
James, was Mike Miranda among the guys who had illness, or I know he left the game early on Saturday?
Yes, sir.
James, how prepared are you to make adjustments on the O-line if you have to, replace some of these guys? Because we haven't seen a lot of the backups other than Effner.
Yep. Yeah, Effner's played a decent amount. Landon's got a bunch of reps this week. So we'll just kind of see. But yeah, Landon and Effner are the 2 guys that I think are the closest to being able to contribute and help. But we'll see how kind of the week plays out. Effner's obviously played multiple positions and done a bunch of things for us, but we may need more. We may need more. So Landon's also a guy who's a swing guy who's taking reps this week at guard and at tackle. So we'll see how that plays out.
You guys have put Kalen King in some big situations. What do you think about his development so far this year?
Yeah, very pleased with him. A lot of guys you can tell, the first time they get out there, they're maybe a little nervous or the moment's kind of big for them. I never feel that way with Kalen. He's got tremendous confidence in himself. He's played a decent amount already this year. So I could see his rep count continue to go up as the season goes on.
Was Tariq, was he banged up down the stretch? Is that why Kalen was on at the end? Or
yes, correct.
Kalen was out there on a pretty big play where it looked like he ran into Daquan. How does he overcome that, or how has he dealt with that? Because that's probably a tough thing for a kid to deal with.
Yeah, I would say, it probably is a little bit different if you in a one-on-one situation. In that situation, obviously they ran a pick play, and 2 of our guys ran into each other trying to weave their way through the traffic. Still frustrating, still disappointing, all those types of things. But I don't think it's going to affect his confidence. He's a very confident guy.
James, I'd say it's fair across the country that the first day of practice every season, the goal is college football playoffs, national championship. Now that goal has mathematically been removed, has that affected the morale in the locker room? And how do you keep a bunch of kids really dialed and focused in on, like you said, you want to know?
Yeah, I don't know if that is the goal and the focus across the country. I think at a handful of institutions, that is. I think at probably another group of institutions, that's the expectation. But yeah, I think that's what's changed with the college football playoff. It's made it very different. It's made the regular season in college football has always been very, very important. I think this has magnified that even more so. So yeah, it does. It creates some challenges. You see over the last number of years, you see a lot of programs and schools where guys are opting out of bowl games and things like that. We've been pretty fortunate, with those types of things. These guys got a lot of people in their ears with the change in policy from the NFL and from the NCAA. the agents can talk to our guys from the time they're a freshman and make recommendations on what they should and shouldn't do. It's complicated. It's much more complicated than it's ever been. There's no doubt about that.
You mentioned another group of institutions, that's their goal, and I don't know if you included yourself at this particular moment in that group of institutions. What is the goal right now, and how does that mesh with sort of the longer term plans that you have?
Yep. Yeah, I think we're a part of those institutions, right? Where we've done it before at a very different time in college football, but we've done it before. That is the expectation, and that is the mentality. I think that is more than fair. So for us, I think you guys know, I try to keep our players and our program focused on being the best we possibly can be today, and trying to be 1-0 each week to try to keep our preparation and our approach consistent from week to week, no matter the outcome. That's easier said than done, as you know. But I think that helps. That helps manage some of those things. But yeah, I think that's the biggest challenge, I think, right now in college football. I think that's the discussions that we've been having, and you guys have been asking me a lot of questions about the competition 365 days a year. This isn't the first time I've been talking about those things. I remember standing out on that turf long time ago when I first got here, talking to you guys about that, using the We Are Penn State as the backdrop, talking about the things that we're going to have to do year round to make that a reasonable option, a reasonable expectation. So keep chopping wood and keep doing the things we got to do to be successful.
Coach, respectfully, you just addressed questions that aren't about Rutgers in this week. I'm just curious, would you be willing to sit down with us and talk about Coach Paterno and his legacy at a future date? Or is it just that you're not willing to do it here in this setting?
Yeah, what we're talking about right now is the current program and what's going on. The game against Rutgers this week, and the things that are affecting our program right now.
Would you be willing to sit down and talk with us about it at some point in the future?
As we indicated, you can go through our office to see if
James, with senior day coming up, how would you evaluate Jaquan's tenure with the program, especially given the things he took to get to this point with Lackawanna, as well as the
Yeah, I'm super proud of him. He's done a great job in every aspect that we've asked him to do, academically, athletically, socially. His family's been a big part of it, being from Pittsburgh. Obviously, the success we've had out of Lackawanna has factored into it as well. So I'm really proud of him. I'm really proud of him, and I think he's doing great, and I think he's putting himself in position to have a very bright future after leaving Penn State.
Can you talk about that relationship with Lackawanna and maybe explain how that recruiting might not be the right word in this context, but how that relationship that you guys have seemed to develop over the past few years?
Yeah, it's really been since we got here. There wasn't a great history of Penn State recruiting it. We looked at it as a significant advantage having a junior college in the state of Pennsylvania. The number of junior colleges have declined nationally, so it was an opportunity for us to keep some kids in the region that maybe had to take a different path to still come to Penn State. It's worked out really well, I think, for both institutions, and the guys are doing extremely well. So, obviously, whenever you get a kid from a certain school or a certain region and he has success, it obviously opens up opportunities for the future.
James, when a veteran player makes a transition this late in their career, like Jesse Luketa, how does that maybe complicate the process of what he faces in the next month or so?
I'm sorry, one more time?
When a veteran player, year number 4, like Luketa, makes the transition to a new position and flourishes there, but is still new there, how does it maybe complicate his situation as a senior, junior, whatever you want to call him right now at the NCAA?
Yeah, I don't think it really complicates it. I think it really, it's probably no different than any other industry, right? The more things that you can do and the more value you can bring, to the institution or the team you're playing for, the better. No different in your guys' field as well. So I think the fact that Jesse can play Mike linebacker and thrive as an inside linebacker and then play defensive end, I think that helps people project him, whether it's a 3-4 outside linebacker or whether it's an inside linebacker, maybe even in a 3-4 system as well. So I think it helps him, and I know it helps us.
Thank you very much, Coach.
Thank you.
Yeah, and like always, guys, you know, any of these things that come up, if we're known ahead of time, we tell you what we can cover and what we can't, which I think we did ahead of time, right, Chris?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you.